Hey everyone, welcome to Start a Tea Business with or without a location. This is Danya and I am so excited to be able to do this webinar with you today. I just want you to know that we are going to be covering a lot of questions and answers, things that I get asked all the time. And I want to especially thank Sonia Michelle from Tea Party Girl. She is the new editor-in-chief of teapartygirl.com, and she wanted to share this really special information with her audience. And so this webinar is specifically for the audience of teapartygirl.com, and because you specifically requested it, you are getting access to it. Now, this is really limited access because we have a very special offer at the end, but don't let that fool you. We're going to cover a lot of great information that will be super helpful for you. So pull out your pen and a paper and pour yourself a cup of tea because we're going to get going right now. So today we're talking about starting a tea business with or without a location. And you know, a lot of women dream of starting a tea business. If that is you, you're not alone. In fact, I had that dream myself, and that's a picture of me, Danya Sassy, right in the bottom right corner. That was taken a couple years ago on my birthday, and actually I was sitting at a theater enjoying a dinner theater, and you know, dinner theater is one of the things that got me inspired about tea. I was actually a theater teacher and I loved it, except that every March was Shakespeare, and I felt like it was the same old thing over and over again, and I just had this entrepreneurial spirit. I wanted to give it a go. Things I had talked about my whole life, I wanted to try. And so I've been in the tea industry since 1997. Now, that really was the pioneer days of starting a tea business. That was when coffee was king, and no one could possibly imagine why tea would even be thought of because nobody in America drank it, or at least that's what it was thought. But actually, tea was up and coming, and I bet a lot of you enjoy tea parties with your friends. And some of you may be sitting there thinking, you know, I've always wanted to do something with tea. Well, congratulations, because you are in the right spot. Today, we're going to be talking about that. Here's what we're going to cover in this webinar. We're going to talk about why now is a great time to start a tea business. We're going to talk about the types of tea businesses, and this is something very few people actually discuss, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about why your lifestyle matters, and this is something nobody talks about. We're going to discuss 10 things that you must know in order to create your tea dream, and what not to do and why. All right? So I hope that you are ready for a journey, because let's get going. Well, our first question is, why now is a great time to start tea? Why is now? Well, you know, I started in 1997, and really that was the pioneer days where you had to kind of explain it. But now even Oprah is doing tea. That's right. Not only does Oprah love tea, but she has signed contracts with Starbucks, and they are selling a line of Oprah tea, Oprah chai tea, one of her favorites. Now, if Oprah's doing it, that means that not only is tea popular, but it's past the tipping point. The tipping point is where you know that American culture has come to accept something and be open to it. And yet there's still a lot of opportunity, okay? So even Oprah is doing tea. So why aren't you? Yeah, why aren't you? Well, you probably aren't doing it because you don't really know how to make it happen for you. Maybe you've had that dream for a long time. I don't know who you are. Perhaps you're one of those people who is in a place in your life where you're just looking for a change. Maybe you want something on the side. Maybe you are a baby boomer and you have a major life change happening and you're ready for something new. Maybe you're fresh out of college or you're in college and you want to jump right in the tea industry because you know it is a great opportunity. Well, regardless of where this webinar finds you, there is room for you in tea. And so one of the things we said we would talk about today is the types of tea business. And we talked about how we know now is a great time to start a tea business, and then we're going to talk about the types. So we said that even Oprah was doing it. But another reason that now is the time is because when I got started, you had to explain tea. What is tea? I mean, pretty much people just thought it was a Lipton bag, but now people are knowing the health benefits. Now, all of the media that has been going on tea for the last 10, 15 years is saturating the mindset, and people are open and ready. But you have to present the tea industry and the tea business the way you want to do it. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk with you, because a lot of people don't know the different opportunities that are available in the tea industry, things that you can start even from home with or without a location. Now, we're going to take just a minute and I'm going to tell you, let's see, 8 different things. These are 8 different types of tea business careers. Now, in my course, Start a Tea Business, that class talks about 17 plus different kinds of tea-related businesses that you can actually get involved with. So if you love tea, you can find a way to express that may or may not be the traditional tea room. So if you look at the pictures here, I'm going to move my cursor over there. If you see where my cursor is right there in the top corner, that's what I think of as the traditional tea room. That's personally what I fell in love with. But the traditional tea room of high tea or afternoon tea being served in a hotel or even being served to your friends, that is the traditional thing that people think of. But in fact, that is just one of many. Now, on the left-hand side of your page here, you're seeing 2 people from Twinings Tea that are learning about blending tea. Tea blending, tea importing, tea exporting, that is something that is an up-and-coming career. On the bottom to the right, you see a woman who's speaking. Believe it or not, there are careers in speaking about tea, and you can build a business speaking about the tea industry, speaking about the history of tea. And there are so many things that get people excited to have you come to their group and share about the story of tea. Maybe you love children and you want to work with children. You want to put together children's tea parties and tea events for their parents. This is a fantastic thing that you can do out of your own home, and lots of people are doing that around the US. Here are 3 more. Maybe you want to start a tea cafe or a tea bar. See that on the left-hand side of the page. This is actually a place called Tea's, I think The Real Tea. That's what it's called, The Real Tea. And it is like a Starbucks, only it does just tea. And in fact, you're seeing those pop up all over the place. I've been working with some people in Idaho that are opening one even now. Maybe you are creative and you want to be a writer and you want to write about tea. Well, you know what? People are publishing tea books. People are publishing articles about tea. You could be a Kindle writer and write about tea. There's actually very few books in the Amazon marketplace about tea. There are opportunities to start in the town where you live, running a booth at your local farmer's market. And so on the bottom here to the right, you see a photo of someone from the Tea Gallery that actually does this, and she does a great business just doing farmers markets. Great way to get going. Well, what if you're one of those people like me who want to work online, who enjoy working online, or who dream of working from home? Well, you know what? That is an opportunity that you can do as well. And in fact, I, in the last year, have been selling tea on Amazon and have had a lot of success with that and have really enjoyed that process. So you don't even have to build your own website nowadays to sell tea online. There are some fantastic opportunities if only you know what to do and what questions to ask. But we talked about lifestyle. We said that we would talk about why your lifestyle matters. Now, we just talked about 8 different types of tea businesses. Maybe you didn't know there were 8. Well, you'll be very surprised in the Start a Tea Business class that there's over 17, and I'm sure there's more. And we talk about all of those, but it all hinges on evaluating you.